All right, let's get started. Just FYI, this is being recorded, so if you missed anything or um, co-captains or anybody else asks, hey, I didn't get on the meeting, we'll get it posted to the website. I actually saw Tara jump on. I'll be sending it to her tomorrow, and she'll get it posted by the end of the week, I'm sure. Um, so, and also I'll try to send all the links and stuff in the chat. First one I'll send right here is the slides that I'm going to present, and then I'll share all the documents as we go through. Everything else is posted on our website, so you already have access to it, but I'll throw it in the chat as well, just in case. The links. So welcome. Those of you I haven't maybe had a lot of interaction with, I recognized most of the names. I'm starting to get at least names to locations. I don't have names to faces necessarily for everybody yet. But I have been with Central Indiana now for a year and a half. Those who don't know, I've been the DLC in Northeast Ohio for 10 years, and then joined the Midwest halfway through 2024. They're like, hey, can you do 2 districts at one time? And I was like, sure. So I split my duties between Central Indiana and Northeast Ohio. Still kind of 2 separate, different districts. Just wrapping my head around how everyone does things differently, but we're making it work. So some people have requested that we have annual captains meetings. The goal is to have one in the summer as well, but more of a kind of a captain's appreciation event where we're going to play tennis and have questions and stuff as well. But it's more of a social thing once the weather gets nice. So hopefully you'll all be able to join that. But otherwise, all right, let's get started. And people keep coming in and out, so I want to make sure I get everyone admitted as people join in. All right, so some documents that you should bookmark. Again, they're on our website. I will share them. I'll go to each one as we talk. So just kind of give me a second as I'm running this and trying to get people in as they're coming in late. Go off of the slides, and I'm going to go to this document real quick so everybody can see it there. So this is kind of just our calendar / important dates. I will update this hopefully early fall for the following, but by December we'll be ready for the following years. You can see we're already getting ready close to open up spring registration already on Friday. We haven't even started winter. That's one of the unique things you guys do. You have 2 seasons kind of in one spot. But you'll see all the dates. So in case you're wondering, hey, when's registration open? When's the season plan to start? All the seasons will be right here, updated throughout any changes. You can actually go down. You'll see at the bottom of the page. If there's been any revisions, just check the date. I was on there yesterday actually updating. Registration was supposed to open tomorrow, but I figured let's give ourselves a couple days to breathe a little bit and get back into the swing of things. So that's the important dates tab or page. That's on there. We've got the days of play document also on our website. You will see, hopefully, looks like it's on the page now. Yep. It just goes by season. You'll see the winter. I don't think anything's changed for the last couple years. At least since I've been on, I didn't update any of these. Either Toby or Karen or whoever made the initial schedule has a good sense of, court availability. As you guys know, sometimes it can be tricky. We did have one captain asked, they said, hey, why are like 3-0 and 3-5 women are on the same day, and so are 4-0 and 4-5 women on the weekends? It's a lot of it is to do with the sizes of the league. If we moved one or the other, we wouldn't have enough courts for either day. So a lot of it sometimes is just getting the fits. So we apologize if it's not always perfect, but that's kind of the thinking there. You scroll down, you'll see spring, summer, late summer, and then of course fall. So that's always where you can find where your league is going to play. It's a good thing as a captain, bookmark. I get that question all the time. Hey, when does this league play for this season? All that good stuff. Another good one to have marked and to share with your players. This also gets updated. What we offer every year, every season. Kind of tells you, hey, does it advance to postseason? Does it count towards ratings? That's always the question I get from a lot of people, especially new players. But you just go through the seasons. You can see who's playing when, so you know. And again, it hasn't been updated in a while. It's pretty set for 2026. Don't anticipate much changing. So otherwise, that's that one. And then the last one, I believe, for those of you who are always looking ahead to advancement to championships, this changes a lot, but here is where you can go to find all the championship dates. When I get them, I send them in. You have combo districts coming up in Evansville, states, combo sectionals. It has not been told to me yet if it's either Indy or South Bend. It's one or the other for certain groups, combo mix sectionals, and then we get into 2026 leagues. You can mark off the weekends. Those never change either. Those of you who have been doing it a while, you'll know districts always the first weekend of August. States follows, 18s after that, 40s after that. One difference, though, is the mixed 55 has moved up a weekend because of the Jewish holiday in September. So we pushed it. We got an extra weekend in August to use. So if you're a mixed 55 person, keep your eye on that. Okay, let's get back to the slides, and I'll try to go as fast as I can. As we get through like each section, I'll kind of ask if there's any questions. Feel free, type them in the chat. And then at the end, I plan for, most of the questions. So if you can hold out, that'd probably be easier. If it's super important, either throw something in the chat or, raise your hand or however that works. I think it'll if you raise your hand. Let one more person in. All right. So a lot of it we're going to discuss today, the good old rules. As the captain, it's your job really to know these rules better than anybody, more than the players. When they have a question, they're supposed to go to you, and they're going to rely on what you tell them. So you really, really should know these rules. The biggest ones we're going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about the national and Midwest rules, but just know hierarchy goes national, Midwest, local. If you ever find anything that's in conflict in the local rules to a Midwest or national rule, the higher one always rules out. So national will always come first. I think our rules are in pretty good shape in terms of any conflict. But it's always important to remember that there's a lot more local rules than the others. But, it's important to know the national Midwest rules, but really the local rules is what you're going to come across 99% of the time. So make sure that you know those. All right, let's talk about some of the important rules that seem to keep coming up season after season for the emails. The refunds is kind of one of the biggest. It changed last year, so it's not new this year, but in case you haven't come across it yet, if the player registers for a league and they do not play in the league, they can request a credit be applied to their account. Tennis Link is not the most advanced website, shall we say. So this credit is in a form of me moving you to a separate hold team and then me moving that person to the new team when the time comes. There's no credit that shows up on the player's account. So the important thing to know, though, is these expire. So if you sign up in the spring and you don't play, you've got your best chance because you still have, or summer, late summer, and fall to use it. If you don't use it by fall, though, it will expire. So if you sign up in a fall league, unless it's the early start, so say you sign up in fall combo and don't play, you're not getting a credit for that because, again, Tennis Link, not the best, doesn't allow us to transfer credits from year to year. So it will expire. Some people say, well, why can't you just refund the money like we used to? Well, the biggest, simplest answer is when we charge, say, the $35 for your registration in the winter and the non-summer seasons, we don't collect that $35 in whole. A chunk of it goes to Tennis Link. I think it's up to $3.15. Then Midwest takes their cut, and then the district gets ours. So when you request a full refund of $35 and the district writes you a check for $35, we're actually losing money. Yes, it's only a couple of dollars, but when it's a couple hundred people who ask, it adds up. And so we just urge players to just be cautious about signing up before they think they might not play. The other key one to note, is if you don't play in the winter or spring and you want to use that registration for the summer, you're in luck because now you've taken a $35 credit and signed up for the $50 or $55, whatever we charge for the summer's more expensive. We're not going to ask you to pay that difference. So you kind of have saved a couple bucks, 15, 20 bucks, whatever it is. If you sign up for a summer team and you want to move it to summer or fall, we're not going to give you the difference. So you've gone from a $50 or $55 league to a $35 league. We're not going to write you a check for $20. You're kind of just on the hook for it. And again, I can hear some people saying, well, that's not fair. I get it. The nice thing about Central Indiana is we are one of the few districts in the Midwest that even offer any type of this policy. I can tell you in Northeast Ohio, our motto has kind of always been, you signed up, you signed up. We don't even offer credits unless it's a situation where the league doesn't go. Then, of course, we're not going to charge you. But if you sign up for a team, you don't play in that league, we don't do anything for you. So I think Central Indiana is very generous in that regards. But just make sure players know this rule. When you ask them to sign up and then they go, am I going to play? And if you say, well, maybe, let them know what the refund policy is. All right. This is a big one. I'm sure there's going to be questions at the end. I'm not going to read all of this. So the time match rule. So this seems to come up all the time. As you know, the facilities give you a 2-hour window to play matches, which, by the way, is actually really nice. Not to, again, go back to Northeast Ohio. They give our players 90 minutes to play matches. Now, they won't kick them off after 90. They'll let them finish. But you guys get a 2-hour window, which is really nice, I think. So it's just important, though, to know how it works in that window. So just make sure you read through this rule. I'm not going to go over step by step. You can answer questions afterwards about it, but make sure you know this rule, especially in the indoor season. All matches are timed, so it's important to know. It's also important to know for our playoff captains, those matches are to be played untimed. However, the facility might only say you only have 2 hours to play this match. So you and the other captain need to decide, okay, if we can't finish and there's no courts available to move to, and you we need to finish this match, say within 48 hours. Do we have a plan to play if a court doesn't finish? Or are you going to say, let's just use time match rules, which is allowed? So that's important to note. All matches in the playoffs, untimed, but be aware of the situation that you are in because they may not have courts for you to finish. So keep that in mind. All right. Something that we've kind of updated the league committee this year is the whole rescheduling. We just want to be a little tighter with getting matches played or rescheduled that get rained out or otherwise moved. We'll kind of go over both. This past year, we had a lot of matches that just could not get rescheduled for whatever reason. A lot of issues and kind of back and forth between captains. This date doesn't work for me. This date doesn't work for me. So now we kind of have procedures in place, kind of go over, make sure you read these in the rules. Again, I will make sure that the link, it's already on the website, but I'll put it in the chat before we leave. Just be aware that we have to get these matches scheduled. So within 48 hours, each captain shall provide 2 proposed dates, times, and locations to play the match. And they should agree within 7 days of the original request or rainout when to reschedule. If you're not able to do it, I get the fun task of setting it for you. And then it's, if you can't make that, then that's on you. It won't be rescheduled. So obviously it's best when captains can work out this stuff together, but just keep that in mind. We have now a more hard and fast procedure for, especially in the summer during the rainouts. You got to get these matches rescheduled because we want to make sure that they're played. So for the non-weather related, so this is when I call up, Captain A and I say, hey, I'm struggling to get players. I can't play this Friday's match. We need to reschedule it. So kind of have a more of a similar to the other one, kind of built-in procedures now. The person making the request needs to email the captain and myself of the request and the reason behind it. Again, you have 48 hours, set it up, 7 days to finalize it. If not, I'll set it up, and then it gets into more information about it. But it's really important to not take advantage of this rule. The committee even discussed not allowing this anymore. I can say this is a rarity again in the Midwest. Most times if I'm a captain and I say, hey, I don't have players for this Friday, the opposing captain can say, too bad, you're taking the forfeit. So obviously we want matches played, but we also don't want to burden the opposing captains, and we don't want captains using this as a reason to get their best players for their big matches. If you have 4 players for a mixed match, that's a match. You really should be playing that. So please try not to abuse this, but it is allowed. But so there are rules now. Now you can't just be like, oh, we can't play this week, and then it's 6 weeks later and the match hasn't been scheduled. So that's important to know. All right. I'll breeze through these quickly. Most of you are veteran captains. You know all this stuff, but just going over it so everyone's on the same page. One thing that's kind of important, confirm your match. Whoops, sorry. So confirm your match details. So the interesting thing in Central Indiana that I'm still getting used to is a lot of times 2 teams from IRC might have a match at Carmel. And with all the back and forth and moving around and inputting it to Tennis Link, I make mistakes. So if you can confirm with Tennis Link and the club, that would be ideal. Make sure those 2 things match. If you can't, at least on Tennis Link, if you're both on the same page, you'll be protected. But confirm your details, make sure they're correct. The district is looking at an online system where everyone's on one platform and can see everything, so there's not all this back and forth. But we're looking at it. Nothing in the immediate future. Make sure you have your blank scorecard. That kind of goes without saying. Obviously, if you're not going, make sure you've designated someone as the acting captain. You need to have an acting captain if you're not there. We don't expect captains to travel to matches that they're not playing unless they absolutely want to. You're forfeiting a court. Make sure you tell your opponent and also the facility, because if there's not enough notice, even when they're gonna in the indoor season, they're gonna charge you that money if you don't let them know, and it's usually the captain who is saddled with it. In the summer, they're gonna charge us since we pay the court fees, so they ask for at least 24 hours notice. When you're there, of course, try to get your players there on time. We all have that one person who just refuses to get there early. We can go over the lateness rule later if you want. Just make sure lineups are exchanged before going on court. The 10-minute warm-up, especially time match rules, you're just eating away at the time. Make sure you're aware of the late player arrival procedures. So there's no penalty within 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, the opposing team can default that court. They don't have to. They can allow the team to play if they're feeling nice. And you still have to give them a 5-minute warm-up if they're late. And as I mentioned earlier, as a captain, you're responsible for all issues that arise. And then afterwards, of course, make sure the matches are entered in Tennis Link, the scores. This is a weird one. I get only home team can enter scores. No. Obviously, if it's common courtesy, I guess, okay, give them a chance to do it. But if you see they're not entered and you're hitting that 48-hour window, visiting team, feel free to put them in. It's not a big deal. If you find a scoring error, which seems to be very common, just hit the dispute button, email the opponent and myself with the match number and the error. I'll get it fixed as long as both captains are in agreement. If they're not in agreement, then we're going to go with what's on the score sheets, which, by the way, make sure you are signing each other's score sheets for that reason. 99 times out of 100, signing it becomes unnecessary, but it's that one instance where there's a dispute with the score, and if the cards are signed or in agreement, it just helps. And then if you have any issues at the match, hold on one second. Sorry, my 3-year-old just came in to ask to play. I said, not right now. Any issues come up, contact me immediately, and we can discuss if it rises to the level of a grievance. Speaking of grievances, like I said, contact me. There are time constraints in filing grievances. Off the top of my head, I know one of them is within 24 hours of the last match of the season or prior to the team's next scheduled match. You have to file it prior to their next match, or if it's the last match of the year, within 24 hours, I believe. It's on the form, double check it. So you'll fill out the grievance form, you'll send that to me, you'll submit the $100 grievance payment form. If you're successful, you'll get that money back. If either party disagrees, once there's, the opposing party, of course, will have a chance to respond. That's not sent to the original filer. Each person gets basically one bite at the apple. The committee will hear it. They'll rule. Either party disagrees. They can submit an appeal. I think in my year and a half, you've only had one general grievance. So I feel like Central Indianapolis specifically, has their stuff together. So thank you for that. The 1 year in Northeast Ohio, one summer alone, we had 14 grievances. Now, that was when it was a $25 filing fee. We did follow the lead of Indianapolis up to 100, and it drastically reduced it. But it seems like you get along a little better in Indy than we do in Cleveland. So I appreciate that very much. Okay, so let's open it up to questions. Anyone wants to raise a hand or just put in the chat or just speak up, I'm happy to answer. If there are no questions, then we can call it a day. Totally up to you. Kind of shocked there's not one question. Nice. I'm starting to like Indy even more. All right. Well, then that's all I have. If you think of a question, feel free. Always email me. Some people are always like, "Oh, I hate to bother you." It's not a bother. It's literally my job. Does not bother me at all. Yes, I've probably gotten the question that you sent me a dozen times, especially now working in 2 districts. A lot of the same stuff comes up. It doesn't bother me. So sometimes maybe my answer will be straight to the point, but it's just because I've answered it 5 times that day. But otherwise, I promise you, you're not bothering me. And no question is a dumb question. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see ya.